Hello, this is Dr. David Shorman, President of Digital Interactive Video Education. Dive Science CD-ROMs are college preparatory interactive video lectures and video labs that teach physical science, biology, chemistry, and physics from a Christian worldview. They're a little bit different way to do high school science, and that's why I want to spend a few minutes here showing you how to use our Dive Science CDs. If you want to learn more about what Dive Science is and watch some video demos of lessons and labs, the best way to do that is by visiting our website at diveintomath.com, and there's a menu on the left, and you can see at the bottom there are several different topics you can click on, including About Science and then each of the 4 courses with descriptions of them. And up at the top there's a Video Demos button you can click on, where you can find video demos for each course as well as samples of the workbooks. Now, using Dive Science will give you the opportunity to give your child a great high school science education. And there are 7 steps I'd like to cover that will help you get a great science education for your child and teach you how to best use Dive Science. So step 1, you need to pick a course. And this is my recommended schedule for doing high school science. 9th grade, you do physical science, and Dive Physical Science is an integrated physics and chemistry course. It's half a year of chemistry, half a year of physics. This is a good prerequisite to biology in 10th grade because biology starts out with a lot of chemistry, biochemistry, studying acids and bases, being able to understand reactions dealing with photosynthesis and respiration, and some physics before doing biology will also help make physiology and anatomy a little more understandable for a student. In 11th grade, I recommend chemistry, and then in 12th grade, physics. Now, mathematics, that's considered the language of science, so it's important for a student to be on the right mathematics level as they do their science. And on our website, I have a K through 12 degree plan that I recommend for math and science. So the easiest way to look at this is if your child starts Algebra 1 in 9th grade, and preferably, though, Algebra 2, Saxon Algebra 2, because that includes geometry with algebra. Your child never stops doing one to do the other. They learn both at the same time. If they start Algebra 1, or preferably Algebra 2 in 9th grade, they will be on track with their math to understand the topics covered in science. And again, I recommend Saxon for mathematics. I have yet to find a curriculum that better prepares a student for applying math in science than Saxon. So moving on to step 2, now you need to decide honors or college level. How rigorous do you want to make this course? At a minimum, Dive Science is an honors level curriculum that connects the study of God's works to the study of His Word. It's college preparatory in that its main emphasis is on the lectures. The student watches lectures, takes good notes on those, and then works homework based primarily on the lectures. Now, you can make the course more or less rigorous for your child based on the reading supplement you choose. And picking a reading supplement, that's step 3 in understanding how to use Dive Science. Now, one thing that can be confusing about Dive Science is that it is the main curriculum. It has everything but the reading component. You need to supplement with a reading component. And what might be even more surprising is that your reading component doesn't have to be a textbook. You can use the internet. On our website, at the top, there's a link called Syllabus Index. Click on that, and that opens up this page, and you can see I have Saxon Math syllabi on there, and then you scroll down to Dive Science syllabi, and you see some different textbooks there, Abeka, Apologia, Bob Jones, the Internet, Other, and then syllabi for students in my homeschool co-op classes in Houston. So with Dive Science, you have freedom to choose what reading supplement you want to use. If you have a textbook that you particularly want to use and you don't see a cross-reference syllabus on my website, let me know, send me an email, and I can make one for you. These are all just PDF files, and let me just click on the Dive Biology reading syllabus to show you what that looks like. So here's the biology syllabus, and you can see it has a weekly schedule, and it tells you what week number. There's 32 weeks in the Dive schedule, what Dive assignments to do, and then here's suggested internet sites over here. And of course, if you're on the internet, you'll find a lot of places that teach evolution as fact. I believe we need to understand what evolution is, but we also need to interpret what we see from the correct worldview, and the evolutionary worldview is a false worldview. One thing scientists do is collect information, and then that is subject to interpretation. Using the internet syllabus, you will learn a lot about biology, but you'll also pick up some incorrect interpretations. But that's where Dive Science comes in, to help you understand how to correctly interpret what you learn about God's creation. Now, you may have various reasons for not wanting your child to use the internet, but used properly, I think it's a good tool for education. If you do use a textbook, I recommend one from a Christian worldview, such as Abeka, Apologia, or Bob Jones, and you can see I have this comparison chart down here. You might want to pause the video so you can take time to read the information that's above the table, but one thing I want you to focus on is this thoroughness row right here, and what I've done there is ranked those different reading supplements as to how much content is covered on the Dive CD from those different supplements, one being the best. So the internet is actually the most thorough, followed by Bob Jones, and that's the Bob Jones Physical World text. And Abeka and Apologia are a distant third because they are not actually integrated chemistry and physics courses. You can use those books, but just be ready to supplement with reading from various internet sites. And then that last row there, ease of reading, that's based on personal experience as well as comments that I've received from others about the different textbooks or the internet. Here's a comparison chart for biology. If you want a textbook and you want your child to be preparing for the CLEP or AP exam and receive college credit, the Apologia Biology plus the advanced book called The Human Body, that would be your best preparation, and I gave it a 1.5, slightly better than Bob Jones. Just the Apologia by itself, though, is the least thorough, and you will need to supplement with some reading from the internet. Now, take one more look at the thoroughness row there, and notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rankings for thoroughness there. I hope you find that interesting, that of these different textbooks that can all be used for high school biology, they have all of these different quantities of information in them. And because of that variety, that's why the reading component is not the most important part of Dive Science. The most important part is watching the lectures, taking good notes, understanding what's on the lectures, doing a good job on the homework and the labs, studying hard for the quarterly exams and doing well on those. Those are the important things. The reading is supplementary. The reading, what you should do with that is use that to get familiar with a topic. Get familiar with new words and definitions and ideas. Spend the bulk of your time on the Dive Science curriculum. Now, moving on to chemistry. For thoroughness, the Apologia plus advanced chemistry is definitely the best there. The internet is also very good. I pick content from many university websites, so reading that information will help a student understand college-level chemistry. And again, feel free to pause the video and read this other information that I have about Dive Chemistry. And last, Dive Physics. It only works with Saxon Physics, so I don't have any comparison charts here. Because of Saxon's incremental approach, it would be very frustrating for a student to try to correlate the Dive lectures with any other course. If you're not familiar with Saxon, they teach by lessons, not by chapters. In one lesson you learn a new topic, practice that in the homework sets for 5 to 10 lessons, and then that topic is built on in a later lesson. And with its continual review, the student is responsible for all their physics all the time. And this really helps them understand their physics well. So after you've picked a reading supplement, you need to decide on step 4. Should you do a hands-on lab or video labs? And video labs, the main thing to think about that is that video labs are the next best thing to doing a hands-on lab. Hands-on labs can be expensive, they can not work, they can be messy and even dangerous sometimes, but doing science is really what science is about, not just reading and watching someone else do it. But if you can't afford to do hands-on labs, then just know that a lot of colleges, they do virtual labs for their students, and students get credit on that. And doing the Dive video labs, your child will get a very thorough understanding of science and the scientific method. Now, if you want to do the hands-on lab, we do sell lab kits for around $200 that include equipment to complete over half the labs in each course. And here's a sample of a video lab. This is Lab 12 from Physical Science, and one of the great things about the Dive video labs is that you can move around in the video anywhere you want to, and you can see you have photographs and explanations. You can see what things look like, and of course my voice is in the background explaining the lab. And then you want to heat the copper sulfate solution, and So the Dive Video Labs, they're more than just a set of instructions. You also get to see what the lab looks like, and that will really help improve your chances of successfully completing the lab, because you can tell what the experiment looks like and what to expect for results. Now moving on to step 5, there are different options for using Dive Science. I designed Dive Science for homeschoolers, and it's designed to help you get organized with your homeschool science, and it has a weekly schedule, a grade calculator. You have everything you need to keep track of your child's progress. Now, if you want to add some accountability, I also have a grading service, and the cost on that is $200, and you'd mail your child's work in quarterly, and I'll grade it and return a progress report. One advantage to the grading service is not only the accountability, but also I'll get to know your child's abilities, and if you need a recommendation from a math or science teacher for college admission or a scholarship, I would be able to write one of those. And another way to use Dive Science is in a classroom setting. You could use Dive Science to lead a co-op course for homeschoolers where the students do their lectures and homework at home, and then they come together once a week to do a hands-on lab and turn in their work for a teacher to grade. I can help you set up a co-op program using Dive Science. Public school students can also use Dive Science to get a Christian perspective on their science courses. And if you send me the table of contents from your textbook, I can make you a cross-reference syllabus. Step 6, follow the weekly schedule. Dive Science has things broken up into weeks, and one way you can simplify things is by writing your textbook chapters or page numbers for each week on the Dive Science table of contents. If you're doing a co-op class, just use the syllabus that's been provided to you, and you can write your chapter number over here and then just start writing in the chapters next to that. If your book also needs to be supplemented with the internet, you can just write I for internet, and you'll know you need to open your internet syllabus and click on those websites. Once you get started with Dive Science, it's pretty easy to know what to do because the pattern doesn't change. Every week you're going to do some reading first, complete definitions, watch a lecture and take notes, complete review questions, and complete a lab activity. That changes on weeks when you have a quarterly exam because you just study for the quarterly exam that week, but all the other times you have that same format in the same order. Well, now that you know how to use Dive Science, make the most of your high school science education and keep some things in mind. One of God's first commands to us was to rule over His creation. If we don't know about His creation, it's going to be very hard to rule over it. So being good managers, that requires a thorough understanding of His creation, something that most high school curriculums don't do very well. And ultimately, that is the purpose that I made Dive Science for, is to help you better understand God's creation so you can be a better ruler over it, to take dominion of it, just like God commanded us in Genesis 1:28. Now, if you make A's on all the quarterly exams or you pass a CLEP or AP exam after you're finished, that's great, but those are secondary reasons for doing Dive Science. Interpreting the facts through a biblical creation framework, I think, is the best way for us to understand the physical world around us. And Dive Science has the tools for your child to be the best they can be at understanding His works while acknowledging His Word as true. If you'd like more information about Dive Science or our other products, Dive Math and CLEP Professor, please visit our website at diveintomath.com.